Well, one of the things as we began to see the transition that was going to happen with Governor Engler leaving office and Michelle Engler, who was the chair of the Michigan Community Service Commission, we began to see, was there an opportunity to take the programs and projects that were created under the state of Michigan and make sure that we operationalized those and then continued them, even though the governor was going to change because of term limits. And we often see in politics, once the new governor comes in, programs are changed very dramatically and so forth. And so Kyle Caldwell and I, we were at a Points to Light Foundation conference, and we began a conversation and said, okay, if we could do something like this, could you create an organization that helped the volunteer centers of Michigan, helped the Michigan Campus Compact and the universities that were doing service learning, and then make sure that the programs that were at the Michigan Community Service Commission, like the Service Awards and others, continued into perpetuity. And so we started that conversation. At that point, I was the president of the Michigan Nonprofit Association, and the Volunteer Centers of Michigan and the Campus Compact were programs of. And so we really started this conversation of, can we create an organization and an endowment that could help sustain that? And at first it was looked at, could you potentially put it within the Michigan Nonprofit Association? I think as we talked with the governor and the first lady, I think they were more interested in perhaps creating a newer organization. Obviously, the Nonprofit Association was doing a lot of advocacy work and so forth, and they didn't want to tie some of the volunteerism-based things and service learning-based things with that mission at that point in time. And so the ConnectMichigan Alliance was then decided to be its own organization. But because they were going to be overseeing the work of the volunteer centers, the Campus Compact, and M&A was willing to give up those programs, we then decided to create a very unique structure for the board. And so we took the four key institutions around service and direct volunteering and service learning and decided to create their board where we would be appointing those members. So we would make sure that there was a voice and a way to connect those pieces. We also had two endowments at the Michigan Nonprofit Association, the George Romney Fund for Volunteerism, as well as the Russell Mobby Fund for Youth Volunteerism. And so we also then committed those two funds to the ConnectMichigan Alliance. And that's really when we decided to go out and create an opportunity to raise $20 million. Well, it's kind of strange to think about it now because Michigan has gone through some very difficult times, but the governor was very generous in saying that they would create a supplemental that would allow for $10 million. But the governor is very serious about making sure that there was a commitment to not only utilizing the state money, but that money would be used and be able to be grown. And so it was required that there be a one-to-one match for those dollars, and so that 10 million would, obviously grow to 20 million. And so that was kind of the process. And then as we began to form the committee that would oversee that, Mrs. Engler was very gracious with her time. We went out, and one of the first people we sat down with was Bill Richardson at the Kellogg Foundation, and he was the CEO. And I remember the meeting because it was the day after Michigan State won a national championship. Both Mrs. Engler and I were at the game, obviously watching and cheering on the MSU Spartans. But then the next morning we had this meeting, and so we all drove up from Indianapolis separately, but both ended up at there and then pitched Dr. Richardson to joining our team, the cabinet, to help us raise the money. And he was obviously excited about the opportunity and did so. And then Julie Cummings was the other co-chair, if I recall correctly. And the three of them really moved this forward. But in the end, it was really Dottie and Russ who said, for this to really work, we had to bring in somebody who knew this system so well. And that's when we sat down with John Lohr. And John came on to be the first executive director, but also to help us raise the money. And in the only way that John Lohr could do it, we were able to quickly get to our goal and raise the money.